My name is KIRTHIGAN and I grew up in a house where the radio never turned off. Not because we loved music, but the silence feels too loud. The static between channels was my first taste of dissonance. My father called it white noise. I called it company. You see, in my house, we didn't talk much, but we played things. Played old cassettes of P. Ramlee, played Hindi tunes when we didn't have the words. And when Mum cried in the kitchen, the kettle's whistle harmonized with the grief. I used to think music was just sound, but myths taught me otherwise. They told me of the time Narada sang a song so pure it healed a battlefield. Of the day Orpheus lost Eurydice, not because he sang wrong, but because he looked back. And isn't that just life? I once composed a song for someone I loved, played it for her on my second-hand Yamaha. She smiled, but never came back. Maybe she too was a sound, a siren, beautiful, fleeting, and never meant to stay. I didn't touch that keyboard for months, not because I was heartbroken, but because I was scared that the next note might remember her. I've seen this in my own family. I've learned that every family has its own symphony. Ours was offbeat. My brother drummed his fingers when anxious. Dad strummed his bells against the wall when angry. Mom sang prayers while stirring curry. Each stir a beat, each spice a note. We were messy, but somehow we made music. And I was the misplaced chord, always slightly sharp, trying to be a major in a house full of minor keys, until I realized myths are not just stories. They're explanations for things too complex to feel. Like how heartbreak sounds like a flute solo in a canyon, or how resilience sounds like a tabla refusing to give up its rhythm no matter how hard the world strikes it. Now, when people ask if I believe in myths, I tell them I have no choice because I've lived them. I've watched my mother become Saraswati, wise, grateful, teaching me that silence is not absence but discipline. I've seen my father as Beethoven, angry, deaf to emotion, but somehow still building beauty from the wreckage of his youth. And I'm just KIRTHIGAN, the boy who once mistook feedback for failure, who now writes sonatas in his spine and lullabies in his scars. Because music, like myths, was never about perfection. It's about remembrance of who we were and what we became when we finally started listening. Thank you.